Super Tuesday recap. It's Chris and Deepom here. We're here to do a Super Tuesday recap for Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 4, Let Me Stand Next to Your Fire. As Ghost Rider's quest for vengeance brings him into an explosive confrontation with S.H.I.E.L.D., Coulson and Mac must rely on an unlikely ally in their time of desperate need. And Daisy, hold on, this is a long synopsis. And Daisy reunites with a familiar face to stop the watchdogs. We just did the Flash, right? We just did the Flash. I'm gonna pull a move from Deepom here. What happened yesterday was Tuesday was, I had a screener. I went to a screener, so I had to miss the Flash. I had to watch the Flash on repeat and off my DVR. I got to watch Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. live at 10, but I watched Flash afterwards. And listen, the Flash was great, man. We had Jesse Quick. We had Jesse Quick running beside Barry Allen. It was amazing, just fucking great. But I watched this show first. Never do that, guys. Never do that. Never watch Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. first, then try to watch The Flash. It's just not fair.
I own my royalties. That's my move, man.
Yeah, it's not like you
say. You
gotta
pay me for this.
Because you know what? I was torn. I almost wanted to not watch Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. live and watch The Flash first. Then, because I was like, this might not be good and not saying that The Flash would be bad or anything like that, but just that I'm gonna come off a high and I might have the same high for The Flash, but just different. And yeah, man, this show does so much. It does so much, and I don't want to say it keeps reinventing itself, but it does little things that you really have to appreciate. Like, before we get further into this episode, we talked about this during the Luke Cage Super Tuesday about how there have been concerns about like with Iron Fist and Asian American representation and Doctor Strange. There's the issue we brought up about Black Mariah and the stereotype of a fat black woman and stuff like that. And we talked about Marvel's and their reaction and how they handle that, and that while we understand what they're doing, that they're kind of not taking the easy way out, but they're not addressing the situation by saying, listen, if you have multiple versions of multiple characters represent these types, you don't have to worry about people going, well, that's stereotypical, because people can see themselves in different characters.
Right.
You see that, like, I don't know why Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't get more credit for that. Because you see them do that. When they talked about Eli being in prison, we were, okay, oh, well, here we go. We're going to go with another brown person in jail. He was probably a gender. No. He's actually pretty much a genius and is over here explaining, that he was one of the top scientists at Momentum, and he got in there because of he attacked the boss who basically killed the rest of his coworkers, and they were over here trying to create matter out of nothing. Like, he's over here you're like, wow, this is a really well-rounded character. And while he's in jail, while he is a brown person in jail, it's not a stereotype because you have that. They do the same thing with Gabe, where you have Gabe is is disabled, but he's not weak. He's actually, like, Robbie depends more on him than Gabe depends on Robbie. Like, so it's not the stereotypical, oh, you're disabled, so therefore you're a burden on somebody else.
Right.
Completely opposite, Robbie himself is a multifaceted character. He's not just, some thug or anything like that. Like, they're able to do this so well. Same thing, we talk about this all the time with, their Asian characters. They're two Asian female leads on this show. Like, this should be a model for how for movies and shows deal with underrepresented minorities on TV in a setting. First of all, put multiple in there. Don't just have one, because if you put one in there, that one character has to represent so many people, and it's always going to fall short.
Right.
But it's not fair. So embrace the stereotypes sometimes, but also understand what they are, and present multiple characters and turn them on their head. And like I said, that's one thing that stood out to me in watching the beginning of this episode of how they did that. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. It's a great way of having to deal with that. Even though it looks like a familiar setting, and on the surface it looks like a stereotype, it really wasn't. It was anything but, you know. So yeah, that's where I get off my soapbox at the beginning of this episode.
That was a good soapbox.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. I mean, where do we start with this, man? Like,
I'm gonna follow you. There was so much, and we're gonna talk about it for a while, but all of it was so well executed. Mm-hmm. Like, they did so well on so many different things. It's legitimately like, it's amazing that we're with season 5 now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 4.
4. This show can still just flat out impress you. Mm-hmm. And it did it again.
And let's begin. So this is episode 4, right?
Right.
So it's episode 4. Everything's already come together. So now the band, by the end of this episode, the band has been put back together in a way in 4 episodes.
The band's not just back together. So what you would normally see, even on this show, when they've done the thing in the past where they break the team apart and then they slowly put it back together, there's always this hand wringing and kind of navel gazing and kind of like, oh, I don't know if we should, I don't know if we can. Mm-hmm. It was very, very, very to the point. Hey, we need you. Are you in or not? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we're going to get those slower scenes later on or interspliced throughout. But like we've said about the show, like we've said about other shows we reviewed, like Legends of Tomorrow, it's at its best when it's moving 1,000 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. The difference between Legends and S.H.I.E.L.D. is that S.H.I.E.L.D. has developed in 4 years the versatility to do those slower moments just as well.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure Legends will get there. But right now, they could have slow played this and we still would have enjoyed it. But I think it was very important, a very wise decision to flourish right into, we're a team now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, it is amazing when you see what they put together. Because again, they set up the beginning of this. This is why I say that it doesn't give enough credit, and why I say, as much as I love The Flash, it blows The Flash out of the water. The beginning of the season was basically them talking about how everybody was setting up the disagreements in the family. Daisy's away. Even like Simmons now has his higher position, and it caused a conflict with May and everybody else. Coulson and Mac are on Zephyr 1 for like 6 weeks at a time. You know, on long deployments. Like, you're like, how's everybody gonna get together? And literally by the end of this episode, everybody's basically together. Like, Daisy's back on, and they brought one more in. They brought in Robbie. They brought Robbie. Like, basically, Coulson. Like, this is an underrated, undersold moment of the episode when Coulson looks at Robbie and goes, "No, this is how we're doing now because this is how S.H.I.E.L.D. works." I'm like, wait, did you just bring Ghost Rider into S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I'm pretty sure you just got recruited, son.
You just got recruited to S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, you didn't get asked. You got recruited to S.H.I.E.L.D. Hey, we got to make a detour. No, that's not what we're going to do. No. That's how, if you're going to work with S.H.I.E.L.D., that's how you got to do. Wait, I didn't sign up for S.H.I.E.L.D.
When did we say I was working with S.H.I.E.L.D.?
When did I say I was doing that? Like, when did this happen? Like,
it was Phil Coulson at his deftest.
Right.
All of a sudden, he had a new employee. And I was like, wait a second.
They brought in Agent Ghost Rider to save Daisy and Agent Simmons. What the fuck, yo?
That's a really good point. I didn't really stop to think about it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It's like it happens so smoothly and it happens so organically. You don't even notice it. Like there's literally the scene is Daisy sitting next to Robbie on either a Quinjet or on Zephyr 1 with Coulson talking to them going, yo, no, we got to work together. And I'm like, wait, when did we get here? And then the end is Simmons basically saying, shit, I got to take a polygraph next tomorrow. Guess we're going to have to figure out how good I am at lying. Like, what? Like,
a lot happened.
Not only that, she also then was able to figure out that Ada is an android and didn't freak out. Like, it was just like so much happens in this episode, and it takes you again. I only watched this episode once, just because I was so tired, I didn't get a chance to watch it again. But I almost want to watch it again because it was so much that happened here in this 45 minutes. Because we don't get a full hour. 45 minutes. 42 minutes, really. You know? My God.
That's a really great point, because I didn't really consider just everything they just kind of unloaded.
Right.
All the tension they've been building all season about these people, like, everyone's keeping secrets. No, it's gone.
Gone.
They deflated the whole fucking room in, like, the last 20 minutes. And now you're like, well, what are you going to do now? And that's when the show gets fucking crazy.
Right. Because then you go, wait.
When you're like, well, what's next? And they're like, oh, we got you. Just relax. Like, I don't want to relax.
I mean, again, think about how they start off with this whole the Hell Charger versus Lola and this crazy ass chase scene.
It starts off with Mac being like, get in, I'll drive. And he's like, no, you asshole. No, again, you don't get to drive my car. And I'm like, that's such a great thing that they keep carrying through.
Yeah. Like, you're like, Mac, you're lucky you're able to sit in the seat. I also love how at one point I thought, is it just me or did it feel like Coulson was going to eject him? Because he asked him how much he weighed. And
it crossed his mind.
Yeah. I'm just like, Mac, you might get ejected out of the seat to make Lola Lola move a little bit faster. And I didn't know how it was going to end. Like I thought he might, because Lola can fly. So I thought maybe she was going to fly again. No, instead, Robbie runs right into a cloaked Quinjet. So you have
we won't need that this time. What do you mean? Bam! I was like, damn, that's
right. So you get that happening, right? So you have that, and you're like, oh man, they've captured Ghost Rider, so that's going to be the entire episode. He's going to be locked up with them. They're going to nope. Coulson goes, well, he saved you and Fitz, right? Yeah. Daisy trusts him, right? Yeah. All right. Wait, Phil, what are you doing? No, okay. Okay. I guess we should work together.
That was the moment when Mac figured out, like, oh no, Phil's not my friend. Phil's that kid who's like, well, what if he put the fork in the light socket?
Right. Oh man.
Phil's a problem.
Oh my God. And so he makes an executive decision and decides we're going to work together. We're going to work this out. Gets Robbie to talk to his uncle, talk to Uncle Eli, to get more information on what happened with these ghosts in the Darkhold, and get her more information on what goes on from there. And that's when we get the detour of them coming to help Daisy and Simmons later on. But I'm like, who saw that coming?
Right.
I didn't see them just letting them out.
It felt like it came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. But then when you think back to what Coulson knows and what Coulson does, it goes, of course he did that.
Yeah, it makes 100% perfect sense.
Yeah. Like, wait, Daisy trusts him, so I trust him. Okay.
He already saved your lives, right? Well, yeah, okay then.
All right, cool. Yeah. And he had the evidence on what went on. He's like, yes, seems like you're only going after people that deserve it. So, all right, let's make a decision. And that's what SHIELD does. I also love the fact that when he shows he's back to being able to show his badge as being SHIELD now, and Eli's like, you guys are back now? You were trying to make a comeback. Shield is
Well,
very good.
it reminded me of the first time you met him because he doesn't say shield.
Yeah.
He says strategic homeland, whatever the meaning is in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time they've really said that in a very long time.
It hasn't been since the movies. Since Iron Man 1. Because I think
Right.
in Iron Man 1, isn't in the Iron Man, he just goes shield. I think that's when he finally says shield.
That's the next time he sees her, he says shield. She says, that is much catchier than whatever you were saying before.
Right. Yeah, man. I just thought that was... So I just saw that you build this tension up and you immediately end it by saying, okay, no, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna team up with Ghost Rider right now. And did not see that one coming. Other than did not see it coming, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried for Simmons going over houses. But then Simmons pulled out the piece, and I was like, okay, Simmons is probably going to be okay. But what's going on? And it was Daisy. And now you get... and I don't think we saw this a lot. We didn't get to see a lot of Daisy ever really with Simmons before. But this goes back
to... We got parts of it because we got Simmons, like, and her inhuman distrust.
Right. But again, you never really got them... really together like that. But here you got another time when the show does a really good job, and that's when you have characters you don't normally see spending a lot of time together, bonding and spending time together, and you literally have Simmons going, nope, I'm coming with you this time, you're not going to leave me, we're going to do this together. You know? And it comes down to the whole thing of, hey, family first. Because that's what these are. They've been through too much to turn their back. And it's no matter how much Daisy is trying to punish herself and pull away from everybody else, the rest of them are not going to let that happen.
Right.
You know? They're not. So she was like, nope, you're not going to do this on your own. You can't do it on your own. So I'm going with you. You know? And I love seeing that. I love seeing those little team ups. Because, again, they're different. They're different from what you expect. They're different from what we've seen. And I think they work, and they're just two different personality types, but they work in their own way. Like when Daisy was telling her what to do to hack into the system, and Simmons just takes the drive and just goes over and tells the employee to put it in there. He's like, oh yeah, I'm her boss. I just told her to, so. And then I love the fact that we bring back traitor ass JT.
Yo, fuck JT.
Here's the thing I love about this. In the comics, he has a relationship with Daisy,
and he's a traitor.
Here, though, they never had a romantic relationship. They do have this bond of they're both trying, and I love the fact that they put this in there, that they're both trying to overcome the effects of Hive. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that he is resentful of what they did, because remember, they forced this on him.
Right.
He didn't want to do it. They forced it on him, and then he became basically addicted through Hive, and became one of Hive's minions, if you will. So unlike in the comics where it was really just a love of money and him being an idiot, in this case, not saying that I support him or anything like that, you understand where his anger comes from and where the betrayal comes from.
100%, and it feels earned.
Right. 100% earned. Because you think of him, you've seen him, you think of him as an asshole, you think of him as that character, but remember, he didn't ask for any of this shit.
At all.
It was forced on him, and so his betrayal, and even in what I love about it is something he said that reminded me so much of what Daisy's done, and there seems to be a theme between anybody who's trying to fight off the withdrawal from Hive. He was like, I'll be the last one left, and then they'll take care of me. So basically, in the end, he's still looking to die and be punished just like she is.
Right.
So I'm like, God, you guys are, damn, never get addicted to Hive. Good God.
Can't just shake it.
Right.
Sticks with you.
But yeah, I love that we had him, him back in that, and then you get Hellfire versus Ghost Rider.
Yo, when he caught that chain,
Dog.
He caught that chain and was like, "All right, look, I'll tell you what's not about to happen."
Also, I hope everybody noticed. Robbie kept the chain.
Oh yeah, he did.
He kept the chain. I was like, yes, keep the chain. You might need that in the future. Dude, that
damn right he kept it.
I love Coulson's reaction with he's like, of course the two people who could light things on fire get fall into a
not even
a
that
fireworks factory.
Did they just fall into a fireworks warehouse?
Of course they did. Of course. Oh.
It's that level of humor that I really appreciate them able to pull off. Mm-hmm. It's a subtle balance because you got to walk that line, but they do it well.
Mm-hmm. And then seeing Robbie dragging JT by the chain back, and he's like, "You said alive, right?"
And they're like, "Yes."
Is it me, or did for a minute that you think he was going to do the penance stare?
I definitely thought about it.
I was like, "Oh, is he going to do it? Please do it. Please do it."
It makes sense that they didn't, but
yeah, I wanted it.
I definitely thought about it.
I need it at least once. Come on, guys, you got to give it. Flash is giving me Jesse Quick running beside Barry Allen. Give me the penance stare once.
I'm nervous to ask for things from this show. They always seem to take at a cost.
So I was gonna say something else about. Oh, another thing that I did notice, and this is something that I've been mentioning and bringing up. Simmons mentioned the gauntlets. She mentioned Daisy not using the gauntlets, and Daisy does give the answer. Well, they're not very, inconspicuous. But I'm like, yeah. But you're okay. I think it's more than that, but it does show that the gauntlets would help Daisy not basically break every bone in her arm as she does this. So there's that.
So she's made the choice.
Yeah, she's made a choice. Because remember, in the first episode, she wore the gauntlets. So she can wear them. I mean,
yep.
Listen, put on some long sleeves. Like, come on. Like, don't tell me that you can't. No, you're doing this to punish yourself. That's what you're doing this for. Let's see what we got there. Let's talk about the fire. And that Radcliffe is playing with by having Ada take care of Agent May. I get his logic.
Yo, May's not stupid.
May's not stupid, but at the same time, I freak out like Fitz. What are you doing? No. This is a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. This could go horrible for all of us. Yeah. I mean, Ada did well, but... And it's not even that May's stupid. I don't think May knows.
Oh, May knows.
I don't think so.
When she said, most of me's from China? Like, Phil's all distracted because pretty girl and he's not really caring about the assistant trying to get her in the first place. May spent all day with this android bitch. Like, let's be real. May's not dumb.
No, May's not dumb, but I honestly think that Ada passed that test.
Dog, Simmons knew immediately that shit was a toaster.
Because it's Simmons.
I guess, man.
Because, I mean, that's different. That's Simmons. You know? Like, because here's the thing. I think if May knew, she wouldn't have been as calm as she was. She wouldn't have just been like, okay.
Yeah, May wouldn't keep it cool. You're right.
Yeah, no, not at all. I love the whole interaction with Coulson when he comes in. It's like He's like, oh, how did you meet Dr. Radcliffe? It's like, oh, somebody gave me my hands. It's like, oh, you're amputee too? like that whole thing. You could just see Fitz just freaking out going, this is going to end horribly. No, do not answer these questions. This is going to be bad. I mean, she's answering them truthfully, but this is also not a good thing. Yeah. Love that. But one significant thing that did happen with Ada, outside of her taking care of Agent May, Radcliffe told her how to lie.
The most significant thing is Radcliffe told her she was in danger.
Yeah.
She said, why would Agent Fitz lie? Said, oh, because and he explained why people lie, and she said,
well, who was in danger?
Yeah, why would who's in danger? Oh, you were. Now you've taught her to be afraid of humans.
This is not going to be a good thing.
This ends so poorly and so predictably, and I say that because you assholes on the show predicted it. Look, this show's so good, I'm mad at them. I'm like, you both said Ultron was the bad thing. You've now given this Ultron a reason to be wary of humanity.
And taught it to lie. You've already told it to disregard the first one of the directives you gave it, which is never lie. And the other one will be not to hurt another human. So what happens if she has to go in and she's faced with something trying to hurt one of the humans she's sworn to protect?
It needs to be that real. What if a human threatens her?
That too.
Any human.
Mm-hmm.
What if a human who knows just says, I may have to tell. What if Simmons says offhandedly, I'll have to tell the director. They'll play it from there.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that she's in danger and should react accordingly?
This ends poorly, guys. This ends poorly.
Very poorly, but very predictably, presumably because you predicted it. I can't stress that part enough either.
Yeah. Yep.
All bad.
Yeah, all bad. So, like I said, I mean, there's so many little things they threw into this episode, and again, because there are 4 seasons and they've done this so many times and so well before, it gels so well. Like I think that's the thing. What I've always been impressed with this show is when they're moving 1,000 miles an hour, but also when they do things like this where they have all their agents all over the place in different places, and then they all come together. Mm-hmm. And the storylines come together. I mean, we even get to them dealing with talking about the ghost and I can't remember the doctor that the female ghost woke up again, but the guy who put them all into the state.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Right. I mean, because they threw that in there a little bit. But that's just so he could wake up and go, hey, we now know he's awake now. We're going to go deal with that next. I mean, that's the stuff that's happening in the background as we have all this other stuff going on here. And it all makes sense and all works. Like, there are so many of these little things going on here, and how are they all going to tie together? Like, the other thing that we're seeing that, again, is a subtle, small thing in here, pushing against the Sokovia Wars, and I think this season is doing more to tie into the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe, because the Sokovia Accords and their version of superhero registration, which is Inhuman registration, which we're not talking about enough about, right? Like they basically have done superhero registration, but made it Inhuman registration. And it's going poorly. It's going as badly as you think, because the watchdogs are hacking into it, are tracking Inhumans by their trackers, and it's killing them. So this is a perfect counterpoint to the idea of why Inhumans need to be registered, or why anybody with powers need to be registered, because you've basically given people a kill list.
Right.
and made them targets.
It's a targets. They're all targets now.
Right. You know, and who is hacked in? I mean, they're hacking into the SHIELD to get this stuff. So, who is the connect that's feeding? I mean, we saw the senator, but who's feeding her information?
Right.
So
they're getting some of it from JT, but not all of it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, well, that'll be where JT's still alive, so he'll be getting interrogated to find out.
Yeah.
Where that goes. So, yeah, again, so many things that are happening, and they're happening so fast. Only 4 episodes in. They
just this show, man. It's really, like I said, it's all the time, and if you can't keep up, you get left behind. Because guess what they did here? They mentioned in episode 1, but now they're giving us a target, and they named it, and it's the damn Darkhold.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, for those of people who aren't familiar with it, first of all, this is a pretty specific tie to Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, it's a very deep Marvel cut. So a lot of the mystic stuff in Marvel is explained via the Darkhold, including the existence of werewolves in the Marvel Universe and vampires, and by default, Blade. It's also been chased after in like those adjunct Marvel books like Red Sonja and Conan the Barbarian, which technically you can now throw into this universe. It's really interesting that that they're putting an object of this magnitude on the television show, and it makes me wonder what spirit is in Robbie.
Robbie, yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think that is going to be that's going to be the thing that really, yeah.
Like, I don't think it, like, I honestly think we could get the word Dormammu said on Marvel television.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also, and I forget the name of the demon, excuse me, but there's a demon that helped write the Darkhold, and if that's
we mentioned it in the first episode.
A demon. What's up?
We mentioned it in the first episode because they mentioned they called it the Darkhold in the first episode. So
right, and I thought it was just a throwaway line.
Right. So we mentioned the demon. I remember we looked it up. I can't remember it now, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they mentioned him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What a time, man.
Wow.
What a time. Anything else you want to say about this episode?
Yeah, I did. I think that them taking liberties with Robbie and leaving Uncle Eli alive, and the things that taking the changes that I think that they've made, been really strong.
Yeah, no,
if you can tie I think it's Chthun to inhabiting Robbie to get back his book, excuse me, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And for everyone who says that this is like an ancillary part of the Marvel Universe, this is exploring the coolest parts of the Marvel Universe. Like the big books that sell, that for years kept the company afloat, allowed them to write weird, crazy things like Werewolf by Night and the Ghost Rider books.
Mm-hmm.
And this is their literally, they've got a Ghost Rider television show.
Mm-hmm.
People said in the first season, there's not enough superheroes. It's literally a Ghost Rider television show now.
Yeah, I'm wondering, depending
what
on
the hell happened.
Well, here's the thing. I'm wondering what happens if what if they get this to work and it does really well, and it's been so far, I think it's been getting really good results. What if they don't cure Robbie or have him, the Ghost Rider demon, leave him? What if they actually do a Ghost Rider TV show?
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, Marvel. We've seen ABC been flirting with trying to get other shows out there. They had Agent Carter. They tried to get the Most Wanted. But I mean, if this works, I mean, you could really do a Ghost Rider TV show.
Well, they've said that they had a surprise show.
Oh, that Singletary was working on, right?
Right.
Oh, dude. What if it is this?
What if it's not though? Because you could just straight up do Marvel Knights and you can do an anthology show where it's him, Blade, and call it Moon Knight, which is basically Crazy Batman, which I definitely think you pull off on television. Like, what if you just had those, not even intertwined stories, but they'd eventually meet up, but those are you just call it Marvel Knights.
And you know why that would work and why that would make sense? Because they've been saying that even though the other stuff has been canceled, that his show is still happening and still working on, but they haven't given any hints as to what it is. It would make sense if you don't get any hints because, well, you didn't want to spoil it because of this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Man.
I'm just saying, look, we've seen what CW's has done. I think one thing we're missing from Marvel right now is the way that CW seeded their whole Arrow universe is by bringing Barry Allen on that one season that spun out into a Flash show, and then you saw what happened from there. Again, ABC will never be the CW when it comes to having 4 different superhero shows on a night. But you can have.
We say that, but why not?
You're right.
We say that, but like CW ain't losing money.
You're right. Don't want it 10 o'clock at night.
Yo, they said we're moving to 10. Ratings haven't budged.
Yeah, they really haven't.
Like, I've been looking because I don't want to get blindsided by somebody on the internet. Why are you watching shows we canceled in a year? And me thinking like, oh God, they might be right. Nope, not a worry, not a care.
Yeah,
we're doing just fine over here.
So, yeah, I keep that in mind, folks. Keep that in mind. So, I swear next week we'll do this. I'll talk more about some comic book. I'm gonna try to catch up this weekend on comic books so we can throw some we haven't talked Rebirth, or maybe we'll do that this weekend when we do Arrow and Legend of Tomorrow. I'll talk Rebirth and stuff like that. But I did read, and I got to go back and look into. I did read the new book Mosaic. Remember they had that new character they made, black character. Interesting so far. We'll see how it goes going forward.
You don't sound enthused.
Well, no, it's an interesting concept. I like where they're going with it. The dialogue can get, because he's basically a basketball player, so they're trying to have. I gotta look at the writer and see if the writer. I don't think the writer's black.
He is.
Oh, he is.
It's an all-black creative team.
Oh, it is. Oh,
I remember.
I'm not happy about the dialogue because it's like over the top, but I think that's what they're trying to go for right now.
I think it was too. I'm trying to see who the writer is. Give me 1 second.
So
you go ahead.
I want to give it. You know, I think I need, because it starts off kind of over the top with some of the dialogue, but it does become it does smooth out as the issue goes on. So we'll see. I definitely recommend people pick it up and read it. The first issue came out I think last week. So I read that. But yeah, definitely check it out. And I think next month, World of Wakanda comes. So
yeah, it's a all-black creative team.
Okay, well that's good. I feel better then because I was like that makes me feel more confident in going forward then. And it's not like a white person trying to write black,
right?
Which I was kind of cringing at a little bit. But if it's an all-black team, then I feel more confident that it's being done with a purpose. If that makes any sense. So, but yeah, definitely check that out. Yeah, well, I'll talk. I got to look more into what some of the new stuff is coming out, and I'm trying to wait. Basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to wait until Civil War 2 finishes before I pick up some of the newer stuff. So,
right.
We'll talk about that.
I'm really intrigued by this new Iron Man.
RiRi.
I'm just intrigued by the new Iron Man book that's spinning out with Doom as the lead.
Oh,
obviously, I'm gonna read RiRi's too, but like,
is that the one that L Brothers were talking about?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Yeah, okay, listen, if it's Doom as Iron Man, I'm reading that shit. Like, I didn't know what he was talking about. Now that I know that one, Oh yeah, nigga, I'm reading that. Yeah, Doctor Doom is on. Yeah, I'm reading that. Yeah, so we'll talk more comic books maybe next week, and I'll just say this. I'll end on this note because I know there's been some talk about the drawing of RiRi, and we've mentioned this before. Yeah, she's drawn way too. She looks way too old in some of these drawings.
Okay, so I wasn't going to do this, but I was talking to Tiff on. I wasn't talking to you. I was listening to Tiff on Twitter today, and she said, and a really good point to me, that a lot of girls develop early, and it's not fair to say that girls can't look like that the way they're drawn.
Oh no. I think that's a very
It was a thing I hadn't considered, and I'm really glad I got my coat pulled to it before I said anything like that.
So I agree with that, and I think that's fine. Like I don't think it's necessarily an issue. Here's my viewpoint on this. I don't think it's necessarily an issue to say that they're treating this wrong because she's a black girl and they're making us grow. I don't think it's that at all. I think people have a right to feel some kind of way only because of the historic way that male artists have driven young female characters in comics, period. Like, that's just across the board. I mean, I'll go back to when we talked, one of the biggest issues I had with Christopher Priest's Black Panther run, the Dora Milaje were supposed to be 16 years old. Those girls do not like their 16. One of them literally has an arc where she falls in love and becomes a villain because she goes, T'Challa gets, is possessed and ends up kissing her, and she falls in love with him. And it is the way she is drawn like she is a 30-year-old woman. This is a historic issue with comics across the board.
Right.
I don't see RiRi as being overly sexualized compared to some other things I've seen drawn. But I do understand why some people might feel some kind of way.
Yeah, so do I. I just think also that, and I saw a lot of people going at J. Scott Campbell. If you've been around comics, you know what he draws. And for him, that was a chaste drawing. And I think that if we're going to have that conversation, and I said this on Twitter earlier, I think the issue is more editorial saying, reaching out to him to do this variant.
Yes.
I think they got what they paid for. They got what they wanted out of this artist. And while there are levels and issues that people are having with it, I think, and I feel weird defending J. Scott Campbell, but I don't think that he did the job he was paid for.
Yeah, to me, it's not the level like that Spider-Woman cover that happened a couple years ago. That was literally done by.
Yeah, but it's not like that. Like this. Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's not to that level. Yeah. It's not that bad. And to me, the conversation. If we're gonna have the conversation about this, and I'm not trying to downplay anybody's feelings on the way the character looks. I think that we should expand that conversation to how all of these male artists draw all of these because they're over the top.
Yeah, it's an industry issue.
Right, it's an industry wide issue. I don't think RiRi is being singled out in that case. And again, compared to some of the other characters we've seen, she's actually pretty tame.
Yeah, I said this is damn near equality. I mean, damn near better than equality because you remember how they treated Starfire in New 52.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, but I do also understand the fact that Moon Girl is not drawn that way, and maybe it's because they wanted a distinction between them. And I think going to Tiff's point, I think that makes sense. Hey, listen, you do have young girls these days who are 15. They do develop differently than. It goes back to my argument about the whole thing where we had to go full circle when I started the show with when you talk about fat black women in Black Mariah. It's like you need to be able to. If you had more characters, if you had more black female characters,
right?
You young, old, whatever. You can then say we have a wide range of body types for young girls and for older women and things like that. And you couldn't be singled out, and everybody, everybody wouldn't have to put their own feelings into like the handful of characters we had. So to me, while one of the solutions is obviously, hey, men do a better job of not overly sexualizing female characters. That's one. Two, if you had more black female characters, you can then make the argument that, hey, this is people don't have to hold on to 2 or 3 characters and say, see what you're doing there. So again, industry-wide issues that I'm hoping that they address and somebody sees this and recognizes this and starts doing that. So we'll see. But I definitely think that to me, I always think these kind of discussions are healthy because it'll lead to change that we deserve and we need. And I don't like, you guys know me. Sometimes I'll see some of these discussions and go, well, that's fucking stupid. Why are we doing the appropriation, hip hop appropriation, like that kind of shit? I get annoyed at. This, on the other hand, I think is a valid critique, and I think that there are several layers to it, and I think it's best if everybody sits down and listens to everybody on this, and we move forward from it. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I got from here. You got anything else you want to say?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. You can find the rest of our reviews and a recap. Super Tuesday recap on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. This weekend, we're going to be doing the Character Corner for the Justice Society of America. Check that out. We'll be back on Sunday also for Arrow and Legends tomorrow. Also, Deepon will be back on Sunday. Also, we'll be dropping on Monday. Another unanimous decision. Who you got coming on this weekend, man?
We got Justin because it's Georgia, Florida week, and I hate myself.
Man, you want to get trolled 2 weekends in a row.
Well, the thing is, if I get him in here now, I don't have to have him on after the game. So this is more like preventative.
Oh, prevent defense. Okay.
Yeah, just look. Don't let him get behind you.
Here's the thing I'd ask. How often does prevent defense actually work?
Clearly not when Georgia played Tennessee and they gave that Hail Mary. Thanks, Chris. Let's get out of here. Dick.
As always, you can leave us a 5-star review and we'll read it on air. Or you can email us at mtrailerreviews@movietrailerreviews.net. Until next time, we're out of here. Peace.